Welcome to our super VIP session. First of all, I would like you to tap yourself, give yourself a tap because you made it here today. And of course, I always say if you want above average results, then you have to put in above average effort. And of course, you have to outlearn people. You want to out earn people, you better outlearn other people yourself. So today you're gonna have an edge to the other associates, right? You guys are special. You guys are here today, and you guys are going to learn very exclusive stuff and very high and next level stuff, right? So of course, I always say this that an investment in yourself pays off the best interest, and I truly believe that in my Sana business. I believe that personal development is one of the most important things if you want to become a top income earner. So today, guys, together we're going to learn about the vision of Hisana's comp plan, building strategies and leadership, of course, how to become a top income earner yourself, and of course, I'm going to be speaking as well in today's session. So let's get this started. Are you guys ready? Can you type in ready in the chat if you guys are excited? I know you guys are because I am excited myself. I'm excited to learn from everyone today. So of course, let me introduce to you our first speaker for today. Are you guys ready? So our very first speaker for today, guys, I've been around him for a few days, and guys, let me tell you, his energy is very contagious. I've learned so much from him already. I actually was reading one of his books that he co-wrote, and it's amazing. I've learned so much from him. So of course, without further ado, let us all welcome our very own Executive 5-Star Diamond Director, Brian in the house.
You're awesome. It is contagious, that's for sure.
Here you
Get
go.
this positioned up, and I'm going to be sharing with everybody. Which camera? Are we this one? Okay, cool. I'm going to be sharing with everybody. Let's do it on this side over here. The vision of USANA's compensation plan. I'm real excited to share it with you. Like back in 2003, I actually literally got part of writing a book about our compensation plan. It's called Compensation Plan Strategies. In fact, Jerica, you just kind of went through this, right? It needs to be rewritten. It needs to be rewritten again, right?
Yeah.
You want to be on it?
I want to be on
Okay, all right. Here you go. A joint project here. Fantastic. So, the first thing we want to do, are we good? Okay. Move this over a little bit. Yeah. All right, well, while they're zooming me out, I'll get it started. So the first thing that I did when I signed up is I wanted to begin with the end in mind of where I saw of the ultimate possibilities for growing a USANA business. And at that point in time, I think the top income earners of the company, the top level in the company happened to be a 4-star Diamond Director. And so literally, I remember the day after I enrolled, I'd figured out our compensation plan. I was figuring out the leadership bonus pool and literally broke down every income all the way on up to that level at 4-star Diamond. And then I didn't stop. Then I figured out what a 5-star and a 6-star and a 7-star, and even up to what a 20-star Diamond could eventually make. Did any of y'all ever do that too? You ever figure out in the comp plan? I mean, so I was just fired up about what we had what we have in our disposal here. So I'm going to talk about some different advanced strategies for growing our businesses. And if you're newer in USANA, this might be some things that you've heard of possibly for the first time. I don't know. But let's start out with a couple of the basics. One of the things that I noticed early on, and partially that was because I did have one prior very unsuccessful experience in network marketing with another company for about 2.5 years before enrolling with USANA. But to me, I didn't earn any income doing it, but it was a wonderful teaching experience of what to look out for and what to look for. And so when USANA came around and I saw this binary compensation plan, and I'd seen a binary plan before, but nothing like what USANA had to offer, especially with the combination of having products that, number one, everybody in the whole world needs, uses, wants, loves. Number two, super unique products. And then number three, them being consumable. It was the first company I'd ever seen that had qualified for all that and had a compensation plan with all of the amazing intricacies that we have. So what I had learned up to that point in time in my life was that most of the industry basically worked like this. If this would be you, right? And if you can enroll with lots of other companies, a lot of the stable, been around for a long time, decades type of companies, they built a compensation plan that was literally invented before computers were invented, okay? So, I mean, they basically had it set up to where if you could enroll 6 to 10 people, and if eventually those 6 to 10 people, they're going to sponsor people, right, and grow their networks. And eventually, if you can find 6 to 10 people to grow teams that with different companies, they'd have a group volume situation. And so let's say sometimes those companies would be anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 a month of volume. And if you can find 6 to 10 people with those types of companies that would be able to do that, well, sure, you'd be able to make a great, 6-figure, 7, 8-figure and beyond income with these. Huge challenges though, because what they didn't say when I joined that company was that to find those 6 to 10 people, I didn't understand I was going to have to go through and enroll hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people to find those 6 to 10 that are really going to do it. And so that was a huge challenge I saw initially right off of the bat, right? I also saw that most of these companies were monthly pay type companies. That's changed a little bit over time with technology, but they had these group volume requirements, and that also, whether this is the stair-step breakaway model that most of these companies are known by, or maybe more of a unilevel situation, there was always a limitation of how many levels deep that you'd be able to earn income. And then eventually it cuts off. So what happens is these people that come into your network eventually, let's say you were this person. Let's say you were this person and you came on board. What are the odds if it doesn't pay this person or this person a dime to work with you, are you going to get their help? Yeah, if they've produced a good system, it's possible, but it didn't pay them to. And so what do all of these people have in common? All they have in common is you. And so also volume wouldn't carry you over from month to month. So when I saw the USANA compensation plan, and they took that industry average, right, of what everybody in the whole industry basically does, they'll recruit between 2 to 3 people. It's said to be an industry average. So, Dr. Wentz comes into my life. He's into cell culture research. A cell divides into 2, builds the compensation plan on the below average number of 2. I thought that was amazing. So to put us in a situation where, let's say you enrolled your first 6 people, and it's a much different setup than all going front line. It's more teamwork oriented. And I love the USANA comp plan because there is no levels like there are with most companies. Average people I saw average people succeeding. With other opportunities I've seen out there, I saw people succeeding, but they were already superstars in life. And I saw that USANA had a plan that average people could succeed at. I remember it being marketed as a plan that a single mom could do at home, with their children, and actually become successful with this, as opposed to just how hard it is with these other plans. So being paid weekly with the USANA plan is huge compared to a lot of the rest of the industry still today. I mean, oh my gosh. Being able to set weekly goals versus monthly goals, right? That was a big one for me. With monthly goals, a lot of times people will work really hard that first week, sometimes that second week, let the third week skate by, and or maybe they'll just do the opposite and they'll start out the month not doing really anything the first or second week, start doing a little bit more that third week. And then by the time that fourth week rolls around, that last week of the month, the things change. So I liked the USANA plan also because with the other plans that are out there, there wasn't much financial incentive whatsoever for the people all the way up in the uplines, the successful people to come down and work with the people at the bottom. But we have reentries where you can re-enter again, right? As with your second business center. Number two, actually, of course, you can start with that second and third one. And we all start with the second and third one. Well, now you can re-enter with business center number 4, number 5, number 6, and it just goes on and on. I learned also early on another. Okay, so here's something I'm gonna share with you. I learned this early on that if I had 4 legs, 20 people deep, and it could be 2 legs, 20 people deep as well. That 4 legs, 20 people deep would basically equal about an Emerald Director, just on average. So I had that in my mind. And then 2 legs, 20 people deep. By the time that happens, a Gold Directorship becomes much more possible to be able to make happen. So how does that happen? Well, here's you, right? Here's your 1, your 2, and your 3. You. Basically driving a leg, and sometimes it'll go down in a different direction. But by the time it hits 20 people deep in those 4 legs, you've developed solidity in your business, and you're on your way basically at those levels to more of an Emerald and a Gold Director level with USANA. Another thing that I loved about USANA's compensation plan was just the simple term of leverage and the way we're able to apply leverage in ways that other compensation plans in our profession, they just really don't offer. One of those is this. I love this one. Being able to, here's your 1, your 2, and your 3. What's one of the things that we get to leverage? Obviously, we know we can leverage our frontline positions. There was only going to be 4 people or 2 people that were going to be the vice presidents of my corporation. Obviously, they're the presidents of their own corporation, so to speak, just using that as an example. And being able to leverage these frontline spots. I mean, I told people in the beginning, want me to use that instead? Okay, thanks. I told people in my beginning, weeks in this business, I remember saying, there's only going to be 4 of you that are going to be smart enough to start with me in the beginning, because I'm going to build this worldwide. And why not be able to be in a situation where you're going to be able to capitalize on, a quarter of my own effort as well. So, and just the fact that we're able to build depth in our business, to build profitability and security. You see, with most compensation models out there, people will build their businesses wide. They'll go wide in their business. And the wider in many compensation plans people go, the more plates people start to spin, right? Well, by building, so they'll build wide for their profitability. And when they get deep organizations, that's their security. So it's like they're focusing on 2 moves. Where with the USANA compensation plan, we build deep, deeper, and then deeper, and it knocks out our profitability and your security with 1 move instead of 2. It just totally made more sense. It also makes sense where you've got a situation like Jared Krebs has this week, enrolling 5 people in 1 week. Jared, are they all going in different legs this week? That's right. So he's literally in a situation where he can have an application, right? Let's say they're ready to go. And then he can go to that next person and let them know, hey, guess what? I've got somebody that's ready to get started. Let me tell you a little bit about them. They're so fired up. They're so excited. And how would you like to be able to have them underneath you in your network? Man, that gets people fired up about signing up in this business. and he's got 2, and he can take those 2 and go to the next person and let them know they are in a situation where if they enroll today, they're able to have 2 brand new associates start out just right in the beginning and tell that person those 2 people's stories. Then he gets his 3rd application. And he's able to go to person number 4 on his list. And the same thing. I know, like, personally, I've had weeks, my best week, I was able to enroll, I think it was 13 people straight down a leg in 1 week, to be able, I mean, well, not counting some other situations with other countries, but like literally here in America, 13 people in 1 week. And it started out with being creative. I was trying to figure out, I knew if I could have an application in hand, ready to go, that would just be one more just situation that could get someone fired up about enrolling. Just that one thing that would make a difference, right? Well, it did, and it went from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, and I was just blown away by the end of the week. You know, I did something audacious one time, and I see people do this too. When you really believe you can do that, when your business is set up. I was a brand new silver director, so I'd had 3 business centers, and I had earned my 4th one. No, I'm sorry, take that back. I was not a silver director. I was a director at the time, and I remember I had decided that week I was doing anything and everything I had to do to be able to reach that silver director level, right? So by the time the middle of the week happened, I'd been on so many phone calls that I lost my voice. And I remember deciding with my upline, Brian Douglas, that I remember asking him, I'm really going to be needing your help. And I was talking to person after person after person and trying to make this goal happen. And I just decided, you know what? This goal is going to happen no matter what. I'm going to earn my 4th business center, and I'm going to offer that 4th business center, my reentry, to everybody that joins this week. And by them help, and I would explain to them, I've got this audacious goal this week to reach silver director. And I had to have my upline actually help share that because I'd lost my voice, and basically explain that we're working on this serious project to reach silver director. And by them joining this week, there was that one more person possibility on me being able to reach it. And by me reaching this goal, it was going to be so win-win because I was going to earn a 4th business center and be able to re-enter down at the bottom of everybody in the network at that point in time. And it was because I actually leveraged a reentry I hadn't even earned yet to hit silver and earn that 4th business center. So that's really, really cool. Once you start earning these new business centers by maximizing at 5,000 left and right, so the first 2 times you do that on a business center, you get 2 more business centers. And then obviously you can do that with any other business center that comes on. So like I had explained a little bit earlier today, I mean, I've got close to 40 business centers now. I mean, there's people in the company that have way more than I do. It's so possible. There's people that have, I think, over 100. Maybe Jeremy even has something like that. I don't know. But he's got enough, that's for sure. Or maybe not enough. I think he's going to be going and going. I want to share a number that might make sense to a lot of you. I heard this early on, and this is getting into a little bit more of the advanced. Okay, so I've heard that the magic number is 50,000 a week. I was pretty spanking new in USANA, and I remember this huge globally known leader came into San Antonio, Texas, did a local meeting for us, and he explained the compensation plan. He explained the end in mind, and it totally made sense to me because this was what I wanted. I wanted to be able to develop a walk-away income where if I'm gone, the business, just like Robert Kiyosaki talks about in the cash flow quadrant, that B quadrant business becomes a business that runs and grows with or without you. He basically said that here's you build a leg until it's doing 50,000 points a week. I know we only get paid up to 5,000 a week, but we're able to keep re-entering into that network, into that organization all the way at the bottom. And how excited are all those people when they know you've re-entered in their team, and what can be generated through that type of teamwork? That's mind-blowing. And so, I'm telling you a little bit about my story, but imagine that being you now. Imagine what you're going to be able to do to change the lives of people in your team, re-entering into their network. So it's so possible. So what that 50,000 points a week represented to me was that in that leg, each leg that I would have 50,000 a week doing, that would represent at least two $10,000 a month earners in that leg or more, or possibly one emerald or diamond director who's pretty new at that level and then really developing their new golds and rubies. That 50,000 points a week, I've noticed it's like a science. It really works. And I mean, I know that you don't want to work every day probably in this business for the rest of your life. Actually, I'll take that back. I actually like to do that. I think it's fun. But what if you need to walk away? I have an associate that's a 3-star diamond director and decided to retire. And he's got a walk-away business, a walk-away 6-figure income. And there's some other couples that same situation, walk-away 6-figure income. They've got some things going on in their lives they're really excited about, but they're still watching. And I know they're going to come back when they're ready and just keep growing it again. But that's what we have our hands on with USANA. Remember that 50,000 a week number. It develops the stability that you want in your network long term because you haven't built super wide. You built in depth. It's that insurance. I don't have as much time to go into this today, and I actually don't really need to. The Premier Platinum Pacesetter bonus and leveraging that with our compensation plan is so super valuable. Okay. I remember I've thought this over many times and thought about, okay, so when this bonus program was not around, I'd sponsored 2 different star diamond actually 1, 2, 3 different diamond directors, star diamond directors personally sponsored. And oh my gosh, this bonus wasn't around. And I imagine, oh, whoa, what if I was earning 15% of their check added to my check? But you get to have that today. So keep that in mind. And yes, I want to reach new goals. And yes, I want to reach new levels. But even at any of our levels, any of these speakers, we have to do the same exact things that you do to grow our businesses. And, to me, it just gets right down to the basics on breaking it down to the ridiculous and me becoming almost a Premier Platinum Pacesetter again. And that's really what my goal is this next year is I want to become I want to be recognized one day for being one of the top Platinum Pacesetter creators in the company, because I know when I'm doing that, I'm not only growing, but I'm massively helping other people grow too. So just become super familiar with the compensation plan, with all of the bonus structures, the Platinum Pacesetter, Premier Platinum Pacesetter bonus structure. I didn't have time to speak about the leadership bonus structure or the elite bonus structure. But when you figure that out and how it works and how the shares work, anybody in your upline can really break it down and explain it to you. It's really simple how it works. It's so simple if you get into a situation where you're talking to somebody that maybe is looking at another network marketing company or looking at multiple companies. And then when you share the USANA plan, they're totally blown away. So know the plan inside and out, and then learn how to be able to share it with others. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to sharing more with you tomorrow. Take care.
All right, guys. Great job, Brian. We're actually just going back over to Rich Tan over in the Philippines. Rich, take it away.
Hello again. I'm back. So, thank you very much, Sir Brian Penrod, for sharing that. And yeah, I mean that's 50,000 points. Wow. So okay. So let me continue with my my training in terms of building strategies. Okay. So to augment Sir Brian's training, okay, I would like to there. So I'd like to share my building strategies, okay, and leadership style, no, when it comes to building my business. Now, going back, let me elaborate more on the triangle offense. No, basically, this is one of my building strategies. When for most people, no, for a few, the building left and right, no, building in your left, building in your right, helping your left person, your right person to become PBPS, to become a builder, achiever, director, gold, executive gold, is common sense. But they say common sense is not so common after all. Okay, so yeah, because for me, I mean, we're here to build two legs, right, left and right. But I see some people, they just build in one leg, and I say, how can you earn? And how can you have a stable income? And how can you have a stable business? How can you realize? Yes, I'm going to watch that. So anyway, for me, I make sure I help my downlines left and right to create PBPS and to create executive goals. Okay. Now, again, so how do I build my business? So my building strategy is I always have a quota per day. I also always have a personal quota every single day. Again, I'm looking at a business. No, I by the way, these are advanced. This is the super VIP session, right? So so we're talking advanced. We're talking about people who are building businesses. Okay. So for me, I look at my business. I look at my Usana as a business. So it means I have a personal quota. No, not per week, but per day. Okay, my personal quota is per day. That's 3 to 5 presentations per day, 1 to 2 pay-ins per day, 1 to 2 sponsors per day. Why? Because I look at it as a, let's say you have a huge store or a huge boutique, or let's just say Starbucks. Okay, Starbucks has a quota of how many cups, like 1,000 cups or 10,000 cups per day. So imagine that's per day. So a lot of people are asking me, why are you so fast? Okay, why are you building so fast? Because I hit my gold in 6 months. I hit my ruby in another 6 months. I got my emerald in 12 months, and I got my diamond in another 12 months. So that's 3 years. 3 years I hit my diamond director. I said it's because I have a personal quota and I have a personal cut off. Okay? Most people have their cut off on a Friday, right? Okay? Wait, let me check the chat group. Maybe you guys have questions. Okay, there. There. So, hello, Sir Bill and Jenny. Okay, hello, Bea. Yes, 3 to 5 presentations per day. Which were the other ones? Okay, then my output should be 1 to 2 pay-ins per day, or 1 to 2 associate sponsored per day. Okay, so thank you very much. Hello, Kate. Now, what else? Now, that's my building strategy, because I want people to have consistent results. And if you have consistent results, let's admit it. People want to see results, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you can you show them big results immediately. But people want to see consistent results. So for example, you hit your first $100 today, this week. Then some guests, they don't want to join you, or some presentations, they don't want to buy the package, and they don't want to do the business. Show them next week. Next week, oh, see, I told you we're gonna have $100 this week. This week, why not start Usana business with me? Follow up again, no? As Sir Bill and Jenny Wang said, follow up, follow up, follow up. Then they don't want to join any again. So, or they don't want to purchase again. So make sure you create results again, and make sure you create, or you help your downlines create results again. On the third week, follow up again and show them, oh, look, I created results again. And now the new people who just joined last week or last week also created results. Why not? Let's do it together, and let me help you create results as well. So, did you create your personal quota based on a breakdown of or your own goal? No, it's just, I mean, for me, that's, I think, the doable. Wait, please go there. Okay. So that for me is, I think, the most doable for a part-timer. Okay, Kelvin. So monitoring and making sure. Monitoring your people and making sure that they do the activity rate that needs to be done for them to create their own result, their number of associate sponsored per day. Okay, so let's say, for example, the cutoff is every day, right? So for me, I make sure that I finish my quota early, so that, let's say, I finish my quota on a Saturday, on a Sunday as well, and on a Monday, I can help my downlines create their create their result as well, no, finish their quota as well. So by doing your quota earlier than them, you can help them create more results as well. Okay, so in return, as a whole team, by the end of the week, all of you guys have reached your personal quota. All of you guys have reached your own results. Okay, so yes, I monitor my people. Every single day, I monitor my people. Okay, now, what happened was, when I was on my 4th month doing this part-time, I have a day job. I was an IT by profession. And a huge offer was given to me to finally work in Japan and be with my parents, because my parents have been away for 21 years. So wait. One second. Okay. So sorry for that. Okay. And what was said on consistency, I made sure that every single week, every single day, I monitor the results. No, of course, after doing my results, I monitor their activity rate and their output based on that activity rate. So every single week, we create consistent results. Therefore, consistent small wins, okay, create big wins, big results. Okay, so yes, and when I was offered a huge sum of check for a big job, okay, for a very big job in Japan, it was 5 times my salary here in the Philippines. Imagine that, no? 5 times my salary in the Philippines. And at first, thank you. At first, I accepted the job offer. On the first day, I was thinking, what if I become the millionaire in USANA? On the second day, I was thinking, what if I create a huge passive residual income in USANA? On the third day, I was thinking, what if I become diamond director in USANA? On the fifth day, I resigned from that job. Okay, and I returned back to USANA Philippines Makati office, and I told my upline, I'm going to make you a gold director. Okay, so go there. I'm gonna make you a gold director. And my upline told me, no, you become a gold director first, because I realize, and we are all the standard of our team. Always remember that. The reason why Sir Jeremy Stansfield become top income earner or top distributor, because his upline set the lead, set the standard. His upline became the top number 1 global distributor. Then Sir Jeremy Stansfield saw it's possible. He became number 1 top global distributor. Then Sir Bill and Mr. Bill and Miss Jenny Wang. So Sir Jeremy Stansfield become top income earner. Now they're doing it. So in short, you are the standard. You are the standard. Always remember that. So when my upline told me, I'll become a diamond, I'll become a gold director. Me first. No. I told him, no. I'll become a diamond director. Okay, so maybe in his head, he was just thinking, this is just one crazy downline. Okay, so many downlines told themselves or told their uplines that they're going to be diamond directors, no? But nothing happened. But not for me, no? So it's very clear in my head that minimum I'll become a diamond director. So I should have said to myself, top 1 global distributor, not just a diamond. Okay, so yeah. So you have to, sometimes you have to give up something big for something bigger. That's why I declined the offer, and I ran for gold, then for ruby, then for emerald, then for diamond. Then I'm not on employment for 11 years anymore, for already 11 years. Okay, so not working for a job already 11 years. So yeah. Now, I talked about the triangle offense a while ago. Okay, so you help your downlines left and right, and make sure they help their downlines on their left and right as well, so that you have a solid, perfect triangle. Okay, now, as I resigned from my job, from that job offer, I told this vision to my people that, before June by next year, okay, it was also this time, November. Also this time, November, I told them we will have 5 gold directors. Okay, we will have 5 gold directors by this time. Okay, and that time I still don't have gold directors. Oh, Santi, just watch there. Come on, go. So I told them, okay, by this time, by June of next year, we will have 5 gold directors. So what I did was I make sure I monitor them. Of course, you are the captain of the ship as the upline. You need to make sure that the boat is moving forward. It means you have to show them progress. So for your first week of telling that, maybe that time we were just 3 of us. Okay, no, 4 of us. Mentor Caleb, me, my left and my right. I told them there would be 5 gold directors by next year. Then on the second, I make sure we will have new people coming in. Like for example, okay, now that before last week we're 4, and right now we're 8. Okay, so last week we were 8. Right now we're 16. Okay, so they have to see it. They have to see that there's progress. Now before and last week we have, for example, this week we had a new director. So how many steps left for become the gold director? They see progress. So it's up to you. You have to make sure that you create progress in your team so that they feel that the progress. And it reminds me as well, right now, most of my downlines are diamond directors already. So me, I'm excited to rank advance again. I'm excited to learn from Sir Jeremy Stansfield, from Bill and Jenny Wang. So I'll visit you soon, Sir Jeremy and Sir Bill and Jenny Wang. Okay, in Utah and in Oakland. Okay. So to learn how to become the top one. Okay. Now, always remember, um, also in Melbourne. Okay, okay. So, always remember, leaders are readers. Okay, you have to read. You have to learn how to read. You have to read on leadership. You have to read on skills, sales skills. You have to read on teamwork or team leader skills. You have to read on communication, influence. Okay, and hard work, you cannot read hard work. So it's as at the end of the day, it's just you work hard or you don't. That's it. Okay, but when it comes to leadership strategies, influence, you can learn from mentors and you can read from books. Okay, imagine it's their lifetime. Imagine that it's their whole lifetime that they wrote the book and you're just going to read it in like 1 week. Imagine, you so much to learn, so much time to save. Okay, and leaders, always remember, leaders wear different hats. Sometimes you're the nurturing leader, sometimes you're the leader that needs to push people, and sometimes you're the leader who needs to create results. Okay, sometimes you're the leader who needs to empathize. So we have to wear different hats. Okay, again, leaders create momentum when there is none. That's why I love all the speakers here, all the leaders here, because all the speakers and leaders here are the ones creating momentum when there is none. Okay, so my time is up. So thank you for sharing. Again, let me remind, let's create momentum. Okay, let's have 3 to 4 new sponsors this November. Start your 2022 now. Okay, so thank you very much, Mentor Jeremy Stansfield. Back to you. So up next, I think it's it's Sir Jeremy. How to reach the top position in USANA. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect.
So if you guys learned lots tonight, can you guys type in thank you in the chat? And of course, let us all welcome our very own 9-star Diamond Director. Here we go. Who here wants to become a top income earner? Can you guys type 1?
Me.
Me.
And you know what? We're so blessed and we're so grateful because we have something like this, and we are able to access wisdom from Sir Jeremy, wisdom from Jericho, wisdom from Bill and Jenny Huang. Because when we were starting, it's not available. It was not available. I remember when I was starting, I was sending messages to Sir Jeremy Stansfield, even if he was not my upline. I told Sir Jeremy, I'll become like you. Okay. Then of course he doesn't answer immediately because imagine so many tons of messages from his huge organization, and I'm not even his downline. Because eventually I became good at I messaged him, Sir Jeremy, I'm already a gold director. What's your next? What's the next thing? Blah, blah, blah. Then Sir Jeremy, I'm a Ruby director already. What's the next tip? Okay, then eventually, we are able to talk together, and he visited Philippines, and thank you very much, Sir Jeremy, for this opportunity. Back to you.
Ready. Thank you, Rich. I love listening to you, man. You get me motivated, get me fired up. It was so cool as we started to open up over there. And though Rich and I are not in the same line, as we built, another, large line with where I was doing with the Balaguers, but it was great that I connected with Rich all the time. And he'd send me like cool things in DM and like some of his goals and like some of the new things he was working on. And so we've always kept a really close relationship. And it's just been great to see his growth, starting his family, and all that he's accomplished, over there in that market. For most of you that should still be listening in, I'm sure we've got some people in North America that are listening to this session. But for those of you in the Asia Pacific, I wanted to be able to be talking more specifically about things that can really help to ramp up a lot of momentum for you and also keep the momentum. I know that there's a number of people listening in over in Asia Pacific, potentially, in some of the different markets like Australia, New Zealand, the Philippines, some of the stronger markets, at least within my organization. And this is one of the things that, it's hard to talk about. I know it was mentioned a little bit as Brian trying to explain the compensation plan. And it's hard to do that and also stay completely compliant, right? Because there is no true walk-away income, so to speak, in our type of business model. This is something that we get paid a percentage of all of that sales volume that's continuing to be, reordered and distributed. And we still really manage our business. I mean, technically, yes, if your business does run smooth enough and can run on autopilot, so to speak, it's still your business. It's still something that you've built. And of course, you're kind of the manager of that business, so to speak. So keep in mind that you never really want to look at this type of business as a true walk away type of thing anyways. In fact, I would encourage you to also not look at anything you do in terms of being a walk away thing in any part of your life. In fact, one thing that I've learned, well, many things that I've learned as I've gotten older, of course, is the wisdom that it's so critical to keep your dreams alive, that it's so important to understand that once you seem to slow down your energy or your vibration working towards your dreams and this next evolution or reinventing yourself, that's when you really start to age more. It doesn't matter if you're still using all the USANA products and eating healthy and exercising. A lot of what happens to us is our brain changes, our brain waves change. If we are not focused on the next thing, the next cool thing that we want to do in our life, the next big project or the next cool, place we can go travel to or whatever it might be, then you start to lose this type of energy in our body that keeps us so healthy and vibrant and young. And it's kind of interesting because my goal when I first began this business was to, so to speak, retire by the time I was 30 years of age. I started at 23. And honestly, again, I'm trying to say there is no real retirement anyways. But I surely could have slowed down and went into coast mode even around that 30-year mark. But I didn't do it. The goals became bigger. I wanted to do more and give more. Back then it was around the Independent Distributor Council. And I found a way to be able to serve. And I found a way to have a higher purpose. And I found a way that I could give back to the community everywhere out there in USANA, not just in my own organization. It took a lot of time, energy, and effort. But it was also something that kept me alive and vibrant and excited and wanting to do more and to be able to get excited in the morning and want to think through what I wanted to accomplish for that day and what I was going to accomplish that week and what I was going to accomplish that month. And things became project oriented, but also fun projects. Yes, there are a lot of stress, and a lot of work sometimes. All of our projects are in life, but it sure is so satisfying to know when you created something amazing beyond yourself. And then look back at it and go, wow, I was part of that, or I helped to spearhead that, or I helped to contribute to be able to make, this whole system or our whole company or our whole community a better place. So because I chose to do that, pretty soon it also became that, man, my dream wasn't just to go travel anymore. Now I've been able to do that, and I've been able to create relationships all over the globe. The Independent Distributor Council became awesome. Being a father and having 2 young girls was another dream come true. And it was just awesome. But I also kept looking at this number 1 top income earner spot in the company. And I kept thinking, wow, wouldn't this be the most epic dream for me to put my feet down and to like really be serious, plant myself, put the blinders on, and do what I thought was never really possible to do. But now being around this and seeing how I've accomplished things and broken through barriers and obstacles that I never thought that I'd be able to do before. Now, all of a sudden, climbing up the ladder and becoming better at managing my business centers, becoming better at duplicating leaders within my organization, doing better at forming these strong bonds of friendship with also these leaders in my organization. Starting to really keep track of exactly where I should be putting my efforts throughout the compensation plan as well. Well, that's exactly how I started to build to the number one top earning position. So I just hope that everybody realizes that if you've been around people that have health issues, and my mom was surely one of these individuals that struggled most of her adult life from prescription medications. Doctors were always misdiagnosing her with things. It was tough for her. By the time she had reached really her late 40s, she kind of like looked like she was in her 90s. And one thing I had kind of found the last several years of my mom's life is she kind of like just wasn't dreaming anymore, wasn't really working towards seeing herself get to a better place in her life. So not only was she combating all the health things and the chemical issues and all these things going on, but her brain power had changed. And anytime you're around somebody that, has significant health issues, all of a sudden, it's not, their energy is just not the same. It's just like, it's like the things that were so important before aren't as important. And it's kind of like you just want to struggle to basically stay alive, but yet your dreams are kind of like gone. And like it starts to change you. And so I just hope that everybody understands, especially like with so many losses of lives this last 2 years. Many of you may know, my ex-wife, Diane, that helped to build my empire behind the scenes, clear until we divorced in 2009. Her mom was also very close to me, and she actually just passed away a week ago from COVID. And so I'll be attending her funeral tomorrow. So I'm going to be a little bit late to tomorrow's session because I'm going to be joining my daughters and doing my support there. But I just feel like that it's all around us. I mean, now, especially with the changes around the world, and now more than ever, we have to be accountable to ourselves and our family and our future. And we've got to get up more brighter in the mornings with a bigger smile on our face and more energetic and more excited about where our future is going to go. And it doesn't matter if you're 75 years old or 82 years old listening to this right now. You're still young. You still have so much opportunity to be able to go out and still create things and to be able to go out and live your dreams that you haven't been able to accomplish yet that you want to go out and accomplish. It's not necessarily just the accomplishment of the dream. We always know that we're being trained by this all the time. It's the journey. It's the experience that is what counts. So it can always be like a new hobby that you want to go do. Maybe you never got a chance to scuba dive, and so you want to get certified and go on a few trips with your partner or romantic partner, or maybe a best friend, or just go by yourself and you want to be able to explore underwater. And that sounds like a new adventure for you. I don't know. It could be anything. It could be taking up all kinds of different hobbies that you've wanted to do before, and now it's a challenge to go out there and push yourself to do it, to be able to stay active, to keep dreaming, to keep building. It makes me nervous when I hear people talk about a retirement mode, because even though I've found ways to be able to spend a lot of my time doing other things the last 10 years, and I'm very grateful that I had built all the way to the number one top earning position and had set my business up so well. And I'm so proud of so many of the leaders, even that are listening to this right now in my organization, that were part of all this. But it was great to be able to set it up to where I could still manage it. I could still build USANA business, but I could also focus on other things that I wanted to go out and do as well. And I have had the most epic last 10 years, probably of my entire life. Outside of like having my children and having fatherhood when my children were young, I have definitely had so many dreams become a reality. Almost everything that I've wanted to do, I've accomplished in just these last 10 years. Now, turning 50 years old. Yep, I can't even believe I'm saying that. And don't quote me and do not put that on social media, for heaven's sakes. But the next 10 years are going to be very different for me. So where you see me connected and putting a lot of stuff out there on social media with the single life and a lot of the stuff I've wanted to go out and do in the modeling community, there's a lot of reasons I'm doing that from some other businesses I run, from matchmaking and relationship coaching and things like that. But nonetheless, the next 10 years, you'll see an evolution. You'll see a reinvention of myself, because I'm really excited about, seeing this new version of me that you'll see continue to come out and evolve. I'm fired up. I have somebody flying in this weekend. That's probably one of the most important people that I've wanted actually to date and to spend time with for a long, long time. And I'll tell you what, this was the perfect timing to get the Diamond University out of the way, and then to be able to slow down, get my mind on the right track, and to be able to connect and help be this launching pad for where I'll be going here over the next year. You'll see this all unfold. But it's exciting. My life is exciting, but I've made my life be exciting. Now, you don't have to make your life be as exciting as mine. You don't have to do the things that I go out there and do, for heaven's sakes. But you do got to be very serious about what it is that you do want to do. And it's been said, earlier on as well throughout the training, which is so important to visualize. So if you're not visualizing what it's going to be like when you walk across stage, we'll say as a top earner, or as a gold director, or as a ruby, or an emerald, or a diamond director. And maybe it's just virtually if we're not actually in person and being able to do live events at that time. But still, what is it going to feel like when you've accomplished that? Have you written a movie script around it? Scripts are being written all the time to kind of like build our business and how to talk to people. And, but honestly, when we read books, we're reading other people's scripts. We're reading other people's, their whole vision of what they want to share with you in a format that you can relate. It's kind of like watching a movie, but you're watching the movie that they created, right? So you can do the same thing. You have the same power to write a script, a movie script about what you want your life to look like in the next year or 2 years or 5 years or whatever it might be. It can be 2 to 3 pages long. However, it can be 20 pages long. But you can sit and write and visualize and write in there where you're going to be living, what it looks like, what it feels like. You can talk about waking up in the morning and what your bed feels like, to who's next to you, to any children or grandchildren that might be running around the house, to walking out on your deck and what that looks like. And to be able to talk about your day and what that day feels like at that time and write it as if it's already happening. You can talk about the amount of size of your organization, the amount of customers that you've helped go out and change lives around the globe, the amount of leadership that you have that report to you and are now great friends. And you can talk about some of the recent USANA incentive trips that you've been on. Some of these cool things you were hearing us talk about. Imagine being able to create a script around that, a movie around that. What do you think would happen if you spent 20 to 30 minutes a night reading that script and visualizing it night after night after night? This creates a subliminal path, a brainwave path, where you really actually end up becoming more effective, more focused. You have a better body language the following day, because subliminally you came right into your own dream, right into your own visualization. And so the next morning when you get going for the day, you automatically have a better attitude. You're more productive. You automatically don't realize it, but your calls are more powerful. You're actually getting more things done the next day when you do visualization the night before. Now, some people may like to do that in the morning or might like to do that around meditation. But the power of visualization is so critical. When I just recently went on this trip to Jamaica, I already visualized what some of that photography was going to look like. I had already visualized what this private catamaran boating excursion was going to look like, how it was going to feel, the type of content that I wanted to actually have created around it. Everything around how my birthday night went, I wanted to pre-plan out, from the romantic dinner, where the setting was, out on the ocean, to actually having lighting and content, and it all been pre-planned and all planned out, no menus. I figured it all out all along the way and had visualized what that was going to be like. So you can do this. And the more that you visualize and you think through, then the more this is likely going to happen and can become true, right? And your dreams can become a reality. So this is our advanced stuff. I just want to say that it's not that everybody wants to go out there and become a top earner. I mean, maybe everybody does, but does everybody really want to put in the work that it takes to do that? I know Jericho's going to be willing to put in the work. He's like, let's do this. I'm ready. I'm going to go to that number one spot. And I love his energy and his drive to do that. And that may be you and it may not be you. Some of you that have actually already built to star diamond director, yes, I'm talking to some of my leaders and my co-leaders that necessarily aren't in my organization, but are also there in Asia Pacific listening right now. Keep dabbling in other types of opportunities, such as trying to figure out other big money makers, such as maybe, working with Bitcoin or other electronic currencies, or, other stocks, bonds, real estate, whatever it might be. In fact, one of the leaders that is here, and I'm not going to mention his name, but also got upset, got crazy about also this type of electronic currency just recently. And it's very stressful. It's up and down. It's crazy. You don't really know for sure what's going to happen, but you don't want to count on that. It's your USANA business that is the strength. Of all the different business projects I've done, most of them are for fun and experience and relationships and connections. But the main moneymaker is USANA. That is the bread and butter and will always be your bread and butter and the strength. And so this is why most of you that are maybe sitting at a diamond or 1-star diamond or emerald or ruby or even gold, listening to this right now, I'm telling you, you haven't built enough leadership yet. It's okay. Like it's completely fine to have, a resurgence or, reinvent yourself again, have another round that you're getting focused and you're going back after it again. It's very normal. Keep in mind that other companies that will come and go within your market, you've got to learn to shake it off. Like I get it, especially in Asia Pacific, a new company comes in, there's a pre-launch, and it potentially can take a lot of, it defocuses a lot of people in your organization. Do you know how many times that's happened to me throughout my USANA journey? And especially even when I was growing from that number 5, number 6, all the way to the number 1 position, when I get calls from leaders saying, oh my gosh, there's this other company that's now promoting to all my people. I kind of like just let it go in one ear and right out the other. Honestly, if these new companies and opportunities, get some of my team members as the green-eyed monster, that's how that works. The grass is greener on the other side scenario. I just don't worry about it. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't convince them to stay with USANA or there's nothing I can say that's going to change their mind. If they're not happy and they're going to try something else, so be it. Just don't waste my time with it. I want to keep just working on positive new energy, new blood. And, I've got a number of upline stories I can share over and over and over of upline members that chose to go with another company and they ended up never being able to build even a 1/10 fraction of the size of their USANA business. Stupid, so stupid. And some of them even come back to USANA later, begging for another position or to start rebuilding again. and then USANA didn't let them in, or even I didn't let them in, and they had already done some damage in my group. So I worked with compliance to make sure they didn't come back to USANA. The thing is don't fall susceptible to the grass is greener on the other side. It doesn't get any better than USANA. I promise you that. You need something that is long-term. That's not just up, for excitement for a year or 2 years, and then has problems with regulators and has problems with, back orders and has problems with funding. We have two major people that you've heard of before. One of them was Mark Wilson, the other one, Fred Cooper, that decided to part with USANA and go start a company called RX. And some people left and went to RX. Do you know, I was just called by Roy Truitt just recently and said that there already is a big problem as they had sold the company off, but then those new buyers are now suing Fred and Mark for literally ungodly amounts of money. Their life is in shambles right now because of all the legal battles going on and that mess. Who wants to be in a mess like that? People that really started to leave USANA and go with RX and thought that that was going to be a better opportunity than USANA. And then eventually the owners of RX decide to sell it off and merge it with another company. How does mergers work? Do you think that USANA is ever going to do a merger with another company in our industry? Do you see the difference? But at the time, nobody sees that at the starting point when everybody is talking about RX or about some other new opportunity. But a few years later, this always happens. There's always challenges. It's never long-term. So you're in the right with the right company, the right products, the right management. You're already starting to see management start to move out of certain spots, and younger management comes in. It's like generation after generation, just like when we have our children get older and they want to be a part of our business. This is going to be about generation after generation. Long after we're not even here, our children will still be part of USANA. Their children will be part of USANA, and so on and so forth. USANA is not going anywhere. Okay. I hope that you're continuing to share the vision with people about the long-term aspects of this opportunity. I hope that you also are reminding people that one day USANA will be a household name, just like Apple, just like Microsoft, just like Walmart. People have heard of you. People will hear of USANA's name like that as well in the future. I know it. I know it'll happen, and it will happen too. Are you sharing that enough with people? Are you excited about the future and your future with the company? If you really want to go to that number one top earning position or whatever it might be, going diamond director, you can't do it alone. It takes a crazy amount of energy, but the most important people you have to consult with isn't your leaders. It's not like calling each of your leaders and saying, hey, let's have a team meeting and go do this. Do you know who it is consulting with first? Your husband or your wife and your children, your family, sitting them down, having a game plan together, mapping out what kind of sacrifice that everybody's willing to do as a family so that you can focus even more attention, more efforts, be more productive. If you don't have your support of your spouse or your loved one, it's going to be really hard to hit these higher ranks in the company. So start there. One of the reasons why I love doing relationship coaching today, even outside of USANA, is because you being around this direct selling industry, we have to be good at relationship coaching. We've got to be great at being able to help people stay together and inspire one another and connect with each other and to be able to build and have accountability to each other. Now, some couples both work the business together, and that's great. And some couples just need somebody that actually handles a lot of things on the back end. And then in my world, in my marriage, I just needed to go out and handle things on the front end. So I just had to go out and do my sponsoring, presenting, traveling, all the things that I love to do for fun anyways. And luckily, she liked to do all the things on the back end, which was manage the money, the children, all the most important things that are happening in the schedule of the children and all that as well. So that there was a great balance. And we kind of knew our things that we both would work on. So we found that balance that worked well together. So I would have never been able to go to the number one earning spot alone. Not with two young children, not with all the different assets and everything that we'd created at that point. I definitely needed to have a partner to help to get there. So keep that in mind. Start with your family first and your loved ones. And then now it's sitting down and looking at which leaders you're going to take with you as you start to run. And if you don't have leaders yet, and because this is, still we have people in our advanced session that you didn't have to hit a qualification to be in here. So it's okay to listen. Maybe the shoe doesn't fit right now, but it will. You will have the ability to actually assemble 5 to 10 leaders at some point in your business and have a completely crazy ramp up plan where you can just basically keep them in your 5 or 10 and pull them together and all have a plan of all rank advancements together and all put in more effort than you have before in order for everyone to hit bigger goals. That's how also I started to put together the mechanics and the math and the drive to be able to get to that number one top earning position. The other thing that was important in 2007 and 2008, we started to have a lot of economic issues. So we had the unemployment rate was way high. The stock market had crashed. Real estate had dropped. We were definitely had an future at that time. And I remember listening to a lot of audio cassettes. I know this dates me again, but I remember listening to people that had been involved in the New Skin organization back in the early 80s when there was another huge real estate crash. And there were leaders that worked so hard during that crash because the opportunity, doors open when, a lot of other financial opportunities are not doing well and people have unemployment and people are struggling financially. They're more likely to be open-minded on what we're doing. The biggest payouts ever really kind of recorded in history at that time, they were Hawaiian Blue Diamonds and New Skin, my heavens. They were doing these crazy amounts of income, but it was all just tied to the amount of sales volume going through their business. They were just selling incredible amounts of product, but they were doing it by motivating and building teams and building leadership. And it's really where our entire industry of direct selling started to have such a massive ramp up of momentum. That was the early 80s. That was before I got started with it. When I came in the early 90s, things were already pretty stable economically. So I really didn't have a chance to participate in direct selling with the economy struggling until 2007 and 2008. So when the economy took a crash, I took that as an indicator to be able to putting my foot down, the accelerator all the way to the floor, stomping it, grabbing gears, and hitting it harder than I ever had before. So those conversations I had with my ex-wife at that time, and my children and other leaders were, look, I see an opportunity window here that we may never see again for another 10, 20, 30 years. So at that time, I decided I'm not going to do what everybody else does and get stressed out about what's happening around the world financially or economically. Let's do something about it. Let's work harder than I've ever worked before. I let all my other responsibilities go around the Independent Distributor Council, around some of my other large team things I was doing. And I started to really focus in on just those areas I needed to build strategically in the legs in my business that were most profitable to be able to get my commissions and bonuses up to get to those spots in that ranking. Wow. What a year it was. It went by so fast. This is the same year that I talk about when I'm being interviewed by Eric Worre. When you do a Google search for $1 million earner interview, it's still on his posting, so I can't really take it down, but it's pretty exciting to actually hear that interview happen off the cuff and talk about how dynamic that year was, because it was a game changer. 1 year. I'd been working my USANA business for 15, 18 years at that point. And in 1 year, well, I guess about 15 years. In 1 year, though, I did more work and had just as much results in 1 year on compounding that I had almost had in 12 years of building my business in 1 year. So when that opportunity opens, that door opens, that is the time to step through the door and to work harder than you ever have before. Now, I'll say that some people there in the AP market already saw this happen when things started to change in our economy and what was happening around the world with challenges about 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. And some of you shifted gears, and some of my leaders are not even on the Zoom right now, that it went all the way up to 4-star diamond director. They ramped things up. They absolutely decided to take their business to a new level by switching to Zoom, by switching to interactive, by building communities and doing a lot of what we've been talking about here in the Diamond University event and going full bore. And then there's other people that kind of sat back and kind of waited to see, what was going to happen. And there's it's restrictions, we're on lockdown. I was nervous. Lots of people are nervous. And I even waited a while before I started to get back into the mode of actually building too. And I have to thank Jared for doing that. I mean, Jared's the one that invited me to some of the Eric Worre minds up on a year ago. And that's really what got my wheels turning to get back in active and potentially, building my business again at this type of a rate, and especially in a virtual community. Who would have ever thought when I started talking to Eric and Jared that by December, I was then invited to be one of the speakers for one of the largest online events in the world. And then within a few months later, we're now producing our own Diamond University event at my house, to now we're doing one in a production studio that you guys are being part of. Imagine where this will go within the next year. My point is that I think that everybody needs to understand that where we're at right now, right this moment with the world changes, this has never been a better opportunity than ever to walk through that door and to be very serious about the energy and the time, the commitment, being efficient, wanting to personal grow as well. Try not to get sidetracked by all these other electronic currencies, because they're going to come and go and they can be a distraction. But right now, this is an opportunity. This is one of those things where if you put your head down and go to work, keep the blinders on, then you can actually focus more this year, this next year, 12 months, all the way around the year to now again, and to be able to have something that can be so much bigger than anything you've even created yet in USANA, or even if you're still getting started, you could create something within the next year that would maybe normally take 7 years to build because of the timing. I truly believe that we're going to see this company grow to a $2 billion company, a $3 billion company, $4 billion company, and more. So there's never been a better time. I guess the thing that I just want to close with here is that I hope that you understand the importance of staying hungry. I know I've hit this over and over and over, but it's staying hungry and wanting to stay connected that keeps all of your energy flowing correctly in yourself, spiritually, your partner, love around your life, the people that you manifest to be in your life. All of this works in a better harmony when you still stay hungry. Don't get complacent. Don't get to a point in life where you're just like, I could just not work anymore if I don't want to. Or, I could just retire from this if I wanted to. It's not even sexy. Don't even use the retirement word anymore because it's not sexy. People don't want to retire. People want to still be in the game. They want to be in the hustle. You're more attractive that way. You're more fun that way. You put off a vibration. And that's the thing. It's like selling a party. It's like Jericho was saying, people want to be part of that party. And you're still just getting started, even if you've been building in these other markets for quite some time. Thank you so much for listening and making it through our entire first day session. We've still got one more powerful talk to come up here before we close out the session today. I've got to say that I am very proud. I see some people that are still in our Zoom that are actually in not only staying up with us late in Utah time zone, but even in our central time zone, our Eastern time zone is coming up on 2:30 in the 3:30 in the morning. That is crazy. And then we've got, it's crazy to see that you guys are being able to stick with us this long. So this means the world to me. It's so awesome. I appreciate all your participation. Our last speaker for the day, which will probably make it a little bit interactive as well. So get ready, get set. Jericho or Lena, the main man.
Thank you, Jeremy. Can you guys type in the chat? Who here was inspired by that? Wow, I was so moved. I want to be a top income earner by next year. It's making me feel like that. I wish I could do it. Yes, next year, right? But I have so much energy. I'm so inspired by that speech. So can you guys type in the chat what you guys learned from that? What was your key takeaway from that? Well, I'm preparing my slides, guys. So today, whatever time zone you guys are in, I'm going to talk about the real deal, the hard work, the sacrifice. I'm just going to share a few stories with you guys. And then maybe we can end it with a Q&A so we guys can interact, we guys can talk, and we can answer whatever questions you guys have to end this very special and exclusive VIP session. So yeah, I'm just gonna be sharing a few stories on how I was building my business before. In my first 2 years, how I got. Of course, a lot of people want to build fast. A lot of people want to have results. A lot of people, there we go, we have it. We have my slides. A lot of people want to make it to Diamond Director, 1-star, and all the stars and all the achievements here in Usana. But of course, there's work behind that. So who here wants to see the behind the scenes? And you type in me in the chat. We want to see the behind the scenes before we go into maybe Q&A. We'll see. Lots of me's. Okay, so the reality, what I'm gonna share with you all to end this session is, of course, if you want huge success, there's huge sacrifice, right? And that's why I love that. I was taking notes earlier from Jeremy, where he said that the first person you consult would be your family, right? How much you are willing to sacrifice, and I think that's gonna be one of the main key points with my talk to end the night. And of course, second is having that right expectation with yourself that it's not gonna be easy, right? A lot of people overestimate their goals, but underestimate the effort, resources, and time and sacrifice required for them to get to their goals. Third one is, if you want above average results, and I keep saying this over and over and over again, because people get frustrated lots when they don't hit their goal, and it's only because they didn't get to align their efforts and their expectations with their goals. And of course, fourth one is realities with my business as well. There will be ups and downs in our business, right? So of course, the way I did it before, do we have part-timers here? Can you type in me if we have part-timers here? So before I had a job, which was I was working in a warehouse before, right? So I had 2 jobs before building my Usana business. But when I realized that we all have the same 24 hours, it's how you use your hours. You want to put in your hours into high leveraged, high income activities. Then I decided to leave my other job and focus more on Usana and treat it like my second job. One of the main things I learned is that if you want to make it big in Usana, in the beginning, you want to treat it like a job, not a business, which means you got to have your hours and you have to show up in those hours. How if you have a job, you can't tell your boss, oh, I don't feel well today, I'm not going to work, right? Or you're not going to ask your boss, hey, boss, can you inspire me today? You're not going to ask for motivation from your boss if you have to work, right? So that's the same with your Usana business. So I'm not saying that you should do this too, right? I'm not saying you should do this too, but what I'm saying is this is what I did to get the results that I got, right? So I would work from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then afterwards, I have my routine so I don't get burned out. So it's like a 3-4 minute drive home. I have a little nap. I take a shower. So one thing I can share with part-timers as well is you have to have a solid routine, right? And then 4 p.m. onwards, I make sure that I have presentations after presentations after presentations, and I have all the activities, right? That I'm productive with that time. So 4 till 2 a.m., I'm working on my Usana business. Sometimes I would even do presentations before my shift, and I would be late for my shift. So I think one of the, for me, when did I know that I was serious with my Isana business? Is when I started to switch, when I started to adjust my work, my job, to my Isana business, not my Isana business adjusting to my job, right? So those are my work hours before. Did I do it every day? Of course not. I know myself. If I'm burnt out, then if I'm physically burnt out, that is, then I take a rest. But that's how hard I work, right? So remember this, and this is a common theme that kept, I keep hearing this like for the past 12 hours today. When you see someone who seems to be making more results than you, it only means that they are sacrificing more than you are. They are putting more hours, they're sacrificing more. Like for me, I sacrifice a lot of things, and I'm going to share it with you guys before we end the night. And of course, entrepreneurial mindset is, when you see businesses, they don't close. A lot of them don't close on the weekends, and a lot of them don't close on holidays as well. In fact, a lot of businesses are more aggressive. Let's say it's Christmas, it's almost Christmas, right? Do you see how aggressive people are? Do you notice how aggressive businesses are during the holidays? Meanwhile, a lot of associates in USANA with $1 million businesses, they don't become aggressive when it's holidays. And that's how I did it with mine. I had that mindset that, you got to switch your mindset, right? Employees spend during the holidays. That's an opportunity, and entrepreneurs make money during the holidays. It's either you're taking out money or you're getting money. So for me, my weekends and holidays are time to work full day because I was working part-time, right? And I have to make sure that my day is loaded of presentations and meetings before. So that's the work. That's the work ethics involved. Okay. And of course, I missed a lot of family events as well. And it's so funny, right? Because I just saw a post of my mom before. Okay, I'm just going to share how it was before. So 28 months ago, when I started my Isana business, my mom would literally message my mentors and she would tell them, what's happening? He's not even making time for our family anymore. She wouldn't get mad, but my mom would message each one of them. And of course, this is something that my mom would always tell me at night. I thought that you're doing a health business. Why are you staying up? Why do you look like a zombie? That's what my mom and my dad would tell me every single time. But you know what? My mom just posted a few minutes ago how proud she was of where I am now. And that's something, I don't know if any of you guys are sacrificing time with your family, maybe with your partner, with your kids. But one thing I can tell you is it's all gonna be worth it. It was so I was able to bring my mom and my dad to Mexico to the incentive last month. I think that was last month, right? And it was all worth it, right? And of course, second, I missed a lot of vacations as well. But here's what I'm gonna tell you guys: you gotta experience the travel incentives of Isana, and that was so true. When I think that was Patty who said that once you experience how Isana treats their associates with travel incentives, you're not gonna want to do it yourself, right? So for me, my mindset was, I'm gonna sacrifice those vacations, right? Those trips, and I'm just gonna do it when I can earn while I'm traveling, right? Number 3, I was misunderstood by a lot of my friends. A lot of my friends were laughing at me. Basically, they didn't understand what I was doing, and you know what? You're gonna encounter a lot of that too while you're taking your business seriously. And a lot of them told me that I changed. But what would I tell them? When they tell me that I changed, all I say is, am I not supposed to? Are we not supposed to? Do you want to keep doing the same thing over and over until you're 50, until you're 40? Of course you have to change. You can't be you can't be a teenager forever. So you are supposed to change and you want to embrace that. Who here wants to have above average results? Right? Or abnormal results? Then you got to be abnormal. You got to be abnormal. You got to be out, you're going to be extraordinary, right? And not everyone's going to understand you. And of course, I lost a lot of sleep too. And I'm not encouraging everyone to do this, but I'm just saying this is what I did to get to the results that I have, right? And of course, I sacrificed a lot of my hobbies, like working out, especially when I was building my business part-time. Again, to everyone here, when you see someone getting more results than you are, then it only means they're sacrificing more than you are. So like for me, I think long-term. Before, when I sacrificed, because I decided, yeah, I listed down all of the things that I do in a day, and then a lot of us have to-do list, right? So if you have a to-do list, I think what's more important is you list down all the things that you do, and then you cross off the things that you shouldn't do in that day. And so for me, one of those was sacrificing a lot of things, right? But of course, I had that long-term mindset that once my pipeline was built and laid out, once my Asana business is running, then I can have more time for that later on, right? And of course, now I can work out anytime and go follow me on Instagram so you can see my gains. Yeah. And of course, guys, remember this. This is one of my favorite quotes. Entrepreneurship is living a few years of your life like most people won't, so you can spend the rest of your life like most people can. And you know what? I had this mantra every time I get home from work. I always talk to myself because I know a lot of times I want to go back. I just want to sleep after, once I get back from working. I was so exhausted. I would rather, go on vacations or sleep or, just rest for the entire day and not do any presentations. I was doing my business even when I didn't feel like it, right? One thing I would say and repeat to myself over and over and over and over and over, you gotta have a dream, first of all. And this is what I tell myself every single time. You have to sacrifice for what you want, or what you want becomes sacrifice. I'm gonna say that again. You have to sacrifice for what you want, or what you want becomes sacrifice. And for me, I had a very clear vision board. It was clear what I wanted with my life. And, I don't want to be 50 years old and none of those happened, right? And of course, this was my mindset. This is what my mentors taught me. Before, I'm going to cram all of the hard work and sacrifice in 5 years, being underpaid and overworked in the beginning. That's one of the main things that you have to embrace. You're going to be overworked and underpaid in the beginning, but long term, you're going to be underworked and overpaid. And I'm going to tell you guys that's happening. And of course, anyone here who felt like quitting before? So I had a lot of that, and I'm going to share a story with one of my downtimes with my business. Right? These are the stuff that you want to hear. We hear about the success a lot of times, right? But we got to hear about the behind the scenes also. So I thought of quitting a lot of times, and one of those was this time here. This was actually before I went to the Asana convention. That was August 2019, right? So this was July. And if you look at my volume at August 2nd, I only had 62 commission volume points, right? So I had 100 points auto order on my other side of my volume. And that Friday, I was thinking, what if I get rejected again? So that entire week, I didn't have any. So I have this habit of having, 2 to 3 sponsors every single week. And that week, I didn't have any presentations. It was a dry week. I didn't have any sponsors. Everyone rejected me. I had a lot of presentations actually, but all of them said no. So I was scared. I was getting scared of trying again. I was getting scared of reaching out to people. And that happens, right? And so I started thinking, what if I get rejected again? Maybe I should just quit. Because that week, if you would see, I only earned 62. So I had one person sign up though. So that Friday night, it was around 6 hours before cutoff. I was laying in my bed. I turned my lights off. This is what a lot of people do when they're down in their business. I turned my lights off. I started a pity party with myself. I started to play sad music, right? And I was so down. I was thinking, is this even worth it? Right? I kept saying that. Is this even worth it? Why am I doing this even? Maybe I should just quit. What if the next person I talk to says no again? And you know what? I looked at the worst case scenario and the best case scenario. So for me, the worst case scenario is if they say no, then they say no. After 2 weeks, I forget about them. I'm going to delete the chat, and it's not going to matter in 5 years, right? And the best case scenario was, what if they say yes? They turn out to be a leader of potential, right? The future goal director under my team, my first goal director. And so I went and reached out again, and so I reached out to one person. I turned on my laptop, lights were still off, and I said, I saw this girl, 21-year-old girl with a baby, and so I said, hey, I said, hey, and then you have a cute baby, and then she said, are you going to recruit me? That's literally what she said. I'm like, oh my God. I built up all this courage to try again. And that's literally what the person said. And you know what? I looked at her profile and I just went with it. And I said, yes, yes, I am. That's what I said. I told her, yes, I'm going to. And she said, you know what? I've actually been watching you for a while and I'm super interested. I was just shy to reach out to you. And so, you get a lesson from that as well. You have people waiting. You got to reach out to them, right? And for me, when you don't reach out to people, for me, it's being selfish. Because what if I didn't reach out to that person? And you know what? That person who I reached out to turned out to be a 4 months goal director under my team. And then she sponsored a goal director, one of my goal directors as well, Andrew Santiago, and also a silver director under my team. And under that leg, there's about 4,000 plus associates. She was my last sponsor on that leg. So my point here, guys, is one of the main principles that I follow is that the temptation to quit is always the greatest when success is just around the corner. You always feel that. You always get tested before you get a miracle, right? So, and of course, this is one of my most favorite quotes as well. Life is like the seasons. You cannot control the seasons, but you can control what you do during the seasons. So, of course, I had seasons in my business as well. And like Jeremy was talking about earlier, I actually had one of my legs wiped out by another company. That's what happened with me. That was February after I hit Ruby Director 2020. So I kept asking myself, why did this happen to me? I was scared for a moment. I'm like, why is this happening? And then I started doubting my business. Why is this happening? I thought it was going to be like solid after this. I thought I was going to have freedom. I had a lot of self-doubts. I had a lot of fear because it was kind of the first time, like a big attrition, like my entire leg left. And of course, not just me, but my entire team was scared too, right? Everyone was doubting. Everyone had fears. But of course, for me as a leader, if you're an actual leader, right? If you're a leader of your team, you got to be the one to give hope to your team. You have to be the one to step up and show everyone that, hey, you guys, that time, everyone was so down. Everyone wanted to give up. But I would wake up at 8 a.m. every single day. We had no presentations. We had no momentum whatsoever. Every 8 a.m. I would wake up, dress up. And my leaders would tell me, you look stupid. Because we don't even have any presentations. Why are you dressed up? And I told them, it's because I believe we're going to have presentations. I believe we can get back up from this, right? And so, of course, this was my thought process at the time. Can I undo it? No. So what's in my control is to go back to production. And always remember this, unsuccessful people focus on their problems. Successful people focus on the solution. And remember, what you focus on grows. And of course, 1 year will pass. Question is, what are you going to do about it? And pain is part of life. You either come out better or you come out bitter. So for me, I learned lots. When people ask themselves, why did this happen to me? They don't look for answers, right? They go into this dimension of self-pity and they ask themselves, why did this happen to me? And they never assess. And that's kind of the problem, right? But for me, when I asked myself, okay, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to my team? And then I learned from it. I got answers. I grew from it, right? That pain turned into the biggest lesson of my life. And that's how I became better. So fast forward after that, like I said, test comes first before miracles. A few months after, I just went back to building, prospecting, inviting, presentation, nurturing people, equipping, develop. I just did it over and over. You know what? You're going to do the exact same thing over and over in your e-commerce business. It's so simple. And after a few months, that's when I hit Emerald straight to Diamond Director. So my question is, what if I gave up? What if I gave up? What if I just quit? What if I slowed down just because something bad happened to my business? I wouldn't hit Emerald and Diamond Director in 15 months, right? So you got to pick yourself up when things happen. And of course, lastly is most people overestimate what can happen in a year and overestimate what can happen in 10 years. So you got to have a long-term perspective of your business. So here's what I want to show with you guys. Always remember this. Like for me, I had a bad week, but never let a bad week become a bad year and a bad year become, a bad decade as well. That's just my perspective. And of course, don't let a bad day distract you from all the progress that you've made. And I always show this to my team. But for Apple, this was the stocks of Apple the past 5 days. It had ups and downs, right? And for the past, this was past months, it had ups and downs. And if you look at it, would they close? Right? Would they close? Would they start doubting the company? And for the past year, it also had ups and downs, right? But if you look at it for the past 5 years, it was growing. And for the past, since 1980, it was actually growing. So when you look at your business by the day, by the week, by the month, it may seem like it's, there's a lot of ups and downs. But when you just step backwards and look at your business on a long-term perspective, those ups and downs, it stretches. And then you would realize that you're actually going upwards with your business, right? So remember, if Apple has ups and downs, why won't you? It's part of life, right? We're not special. Everyone has ups and downs. It's all about what you do when things are down, right? And of course, this is my last slide. I think we have 10 minutes left. This is my favorite. I love this. Remember, you wouldn't plant a seed and then dig it up every few minutes to see if it has grown. So why do you keep questioning yourself, your hard work, and your decisions? Have patience, stop overthinking, and keep watering your seeds. And of course, when you look at a tree, guys, the purpose of a tree is to bear fruits, right? That is the purpose of a tree. A fruit tree is to bear fruits. But when you plant a tree and you water it and you cultivate it and you take care of it, the last thing to grow is whatever its purpose is to bear fruits. And the last thing to grow after years is the fruits. And that's the same with your business. I always say this, the people who enjoy the fruits of their labor are those who stay. It's the people who have faith, and it's the people who think long-term, and it's the people who stay long enough until they see the results in their business. So I hope you guys learned lots in this special exclusive VIP session. Congratulations to everyone who made time. I know it has been a long day for all of you guys, but I know you guys learned so much from this session. So I'm gonna pass it on, and I'm gonna call on. Okay, well I think we have a few minutes up. If you guys want to do Q&A, let's do it. For sure.
All right. Who
Yeah.
has a question?
Let's see. So you guys can type in your questions down the chat so we can, have an intimate session, one-on-one session as well. Let's do some Q&A.
What do you do at your lowest time? Kelvin asks.
From Kelvin, what do I do in my lowest time? In my lowest time, what I do is I tend to, of course, the first thing I do is I change my environment. Because when you've been in a, like, let's say my workplace for a long time, I've attached the negative emotion to my environment. So what you want to do is change your environment. What I do is a lot of people would go back to what they are doing, but it's different for me. I would distract myself and do something different and clear off my mind a little and just change my environment. Jump, get some sunlight, or take care of myself. And then what I would do is I would reflect on my down moments. I would reflect on why it happened to me. How can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? What is the purpose of this? And of course, it's always the three things. This is from Tony Robbins. You want to change the story. First one is you want to change the story that's in your head on why it happened to you. So it's story, right? And then second one is state. You want to change your state as well. So when you're down, can you guys show me what a person who is down, what does that person looks like to you, right? So that person would be like shoulders down, looking down, frowning, and you choose to be in that state, and you can change that, right? So what I do is I change my state, change my energy. I open my arms, I jump, I move, right? I play some music just so I can change my state. That's something that helps me, because for me, being in a down state is something, it's a choice for me. That's just how I look at it. I don't want to stay in that state. I can always change that, right? So it's the story that's in your head, the state, and the last one is strategy. This is what Les Brown said. There are winners, there are losers, and there are people who need some coaching and a different strategy as well. So you change the story in your head. You're not a victim. it's happening for you, right? Second one, change your state, right? Third one is you want to look at your strategy. You ask someone for help. What books can you read? Who are the people you can reach out to that can coach you and guide you and give you a different strategy so you get a different result? So those are the three main things that I do in my down moments as well. And of course, last one with state, sorry, I'm just going to add this, is I go back to gratitude, right? A lot of the times we look at the things that we don't have, and then we tend to forget the things that we have or that we have gained. And when you're in a state of gratitude, it's so much better. Your energy goes up. So that's what I do. Kelvin, do you have more?
Next question from Abigail Yu in Australia. How do you develop leaders around you?
Oh, how do I develop leaders? They're not going to be in my. Oh, that's going to be my topic for tomorrow, Abigail. But I'm going to give you a few answers, I guess. So developing the leaders around you. I always say this, that the first step would be to develop yourself first, because you cannot give what you don't have. So it always starts from you. And for me, the best way to develop leadership is to model it. You got to show it. People don't learn from what we say. People learn from what they see. That's like how, like when you have a child, I think parenting is one of the best forms of leadership, right? And so when you have a child and you tell them to not swear and you swear around them, what are they going to do? They're going to swear because that's what they see from you. They're going to say, well, you're telling me not to swear, but you're doing it, right? So that's the same way with leadership, is I model it. For me, leadership, leading by example is the only way to lead. You got to show them. You got to show them. So that's one of the main things. I'm just going to give you that one. So you stay and you go back here on our day 2 for Diamond U.
Last question. What tip can you give to someone who's in a pioneering stage for a 3-year-old market?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't experienced it yet. You know what? Maybe we can do a few Q&A with the people who've done it before. I gotta learn that from them as well. But I think talking to, I can't answer based from experience. This is all theory for me right now. So don't take my word for it. But from what I learned, from what I heard from Brian and them, I was asking questions earlier. It was a lot of time commitment to these people. You got to be there with them, and like Jeremy said, it's a lot of sacrifice as well. And I learned this from Eric Worre as well. Is you got to set the right expectations with these people. That it's gonna be like you. It's gonna be you crossing a jungle with them. You want to set that expectation for them, that it's going to be messy in the beginning with the with the company, with the team. It's not going to be perfect right away. It's going to be harder because everyone's adjusting, but it's going to be easier long term. But you know what? I haven't experienced it yet, so I don't know. I'm just honest.
Very last question. If you were going to start from scratch again, what are the things you would avoid to be more successful?
What are the things that I would avoid if I would start over again? I would avoid spoon feeding my downlines. That's what I did wrong on my first few months. When I hit gold, that's when I realized. So I always tell this story, but one of my first gold directors, because I used to do everything. I was a mother hen. You guys know that. I was doing everything for everyone. I was doing all the presentations. I was doing all the training. I was doing all the work. I didn't want them to go through what I'm going through. I want to save everyone. I basically wanted to be a messiah for my team. And so one of my leaders, that's what I love about leaders, right? Followers tell you what you want to hear. Leaders tell you what you need to hear. And so one of my leaders that I was developing reached out to me, and then she said, why are you doing everything for everyone? Why are you doing all the presentations? Why would you do all the trainings? And so I said, isn't that what service is? Didn't we learn that service to many leads to greatness? And so she told me, yes, that is service, and you are helping us. But what if we lose you? That's what she said. What if you suddenly leave us and we don't know what to do? That's a disservice to us. She was very straightforward. But she told me that the best service that you can do to your downlines is to make sure that they can do the business with or without you. And so that's where duplication came in. That's when I realized that the best form of service that I can provide them is to teach them what I know so that they can do it with or without me. Even if I travel, even if something comes up, even if there's an emergency, they could build their business. I can grow them and I can develop them. And that's one of the main things. If I were to start all over again on my first few months, that's where I would start. So I think that's our last question for tonight. I guess that wraps up our super VIP. Can you guys type in thank you, Diamond, you in the chat if you've learned so much. And of course, can we all give a round of applause for ourselves, for yourself, and for the entire team. I hope you guys learned. I hope you guys enjoyed this session for today. And of course, see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow we're starting at 1:30 p.m. Mountain Time. That's for Super VIP as well. So I'm gonna be, I think I'm gonna be a speaker tomorrow as well. So we're gonna learn lots. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good day, everyone.